Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Something is rotten in the state of Victoria, and it's starting to infect Labor federally. Something is rotten in the state of Victoria when you've got such a significant undermining of public confidence over a long period of time in public institutions, in government integrity, which has become so much worse under Daniel Andrews and since his tenure. And I only need to look at how state government ministers treat this issue. If I go back to September 25 last year, Australia's worst energy minister, Lily D'Ambrosio, was asked about an IBAC survey on the perception of corruption, and she waved reporters away and said, she was extremely flippant. She said she was more interested in community perceptions, but the reality was that nearly 90% of MPs in Victoria, in the Victorian State Parliament, were worried about corruption, a bit less than that for local government councillors. And that is one example of how prolific some of these issues are. Now, we're not talking about minor infractions here. We are dealing with some pretty profound issues. $15 billion didn't just vanish. It was siphoned off while the government looked the other way. We're talking about strippers being brought into a workplace. In what other workplace in Australia or office would that be acceptable? That's what's happening in Victoria. This is not incompetence, it's willful ignorance. I've read today about a contract that was taken out on the administrator when he was appointed. This is really serious stuff. We read about this sort of thing internationally. We like to think it doesn't happen here in Australia, but it does when it comes to the Cfmeu, and it's allowed to flourish under a Labor federal government that is not prepared to toughen up and deal with it. We're talking about organised crime figures buying and selling workplace agreements. And every dollar lost, and I note that at the moment we're paying something like $500,000 a minute on government debt, but every dollar lost to corruption is a hospital bed not funded, is a road not fixed, is a school not repaired. But that's the Victorian government. That's Labor in Victoria, which has infected Labor federally. It's the standard that you choose to walk past, that's the same one that you choose to accept. And it's also impacting regional communities and small businesses. And I'll give you the example, Madam Deputy Speaker. My electorate of Monash, there are many family-run SME building businesses. They do a terrific job. They employ young people. They give tradies a go. We've got a wonderful local workforce. But so often I speak to them about skills and labour shortages, and these corruption issues in Melbourne that relate to the Cfmeu have profound and ongoing and institutional consequences for the rest of the building sector, for small businesses who are expected to abide by a very high level of compliance and regulatory standards that clearly the Cfmeu are not. And so there are some really profound flow-on impacts here. The member for Goldstein has done an outstanding job in holding a light to systemic corruption. The Age, which is not exactly the bastion of conservative publishing, has been like a dog with a bone on this issue, and I commend the bravery and the persistence of reporters like Nick McKenzie. Because we need to get to the bottom of this. We need to see a report that is not redacted. If you are serious about standing up to corruption, putting out that report in full without bits and pieces taken out and redacted and blacked out, that's important. It's important to get to the bottom of why bikie gangs were running building sites. We need to know what is happening from here on in with that report, with cleaning up union corruption, with Cfmeu donations to the Labor Party, because Australians deserve so much better.